Now really shout this to the crowd. Right.
The government of persons is replaced by the administration of things and by the conduct of processes of production.
That's it. That's the government of persons. What did you say?
What is that?
The government of persons is replaced by the administration of things and by the conduct of processes of production. Underline that in pink, yellow, and blue. The government of persons is replaced by the administration of things. What do you think that means? Yes, Jason.
In today's society, the state plays a large role in repressing individual freedom, and under a different way organized society, it would play more like a county role, just like keeping track of how much stuff
The government of people is replaced by the administration of things. The government of people, for Marx and Engels, is the government of what? Of whom over whom? The bourgeoisie, you murmuring, is obviously buzzing around in your head. Chelsea, yes. Under capitalism, the state, for Marx and Engels, represents the common interest. But the common interest is the reproduction of what? Capitalism. So basically, the state, as such, when Engels talks about the state as the government of people, it is the government of one class over another, the domination of one class over another class. With a withering away of classes, you no longer need the repressive arm of the state. You no longer need a state that is organizing the domination of one class over another. And what you're left with is an apparatus, an organization, institution that will organize the economy. That will administer things, that will plan. In fact, one might say that one moves from the market to... Engels says this. He does. I think he does. He must do. He would never let me down, this guy. 715. Haha, yes. If you look on 715, the new paragraph on 715, he says, with the seizing of the means of production by society, production of commodities is done away with and simultaneously the mastery of the product of the producer. Anarchy in social production is replaced by systematic, definite organization. Anarchy, so the anarchy of the market is replaced by what? A system of planned economy. We've heard that before. Planned economy. This university is a planned society. The fact that you are here and I am here at the same time is a result of some enormous planning feat. This whole university is a planned society. It's not the result of competition that you end up here. It is planned by the administration. This is the idea of planning. And markets will be replaced by planning. So planning, in fact, Lenin once said that, the whole of society will look like the US Postal Office. Imagine that. Because that is indeed a planned organization. And with it, of course, there are all sorts of problems, which we will talk about. But anyway, the idea is to replace this competition, this anarchy of competition, with a planned economy. That is what is meant by the movement from the government of things, a government of people, to the administration of things. The central organ will no longer be a state, an instrument for the oppressing of one class by another, but will be the vehicle of a planned economy. I saw a hand up, yes. Last, right. Yeah, look. This is what Engels says. We're doing what Engels says. Now, Engels has got a very, very, it's a pathetic theory of transition. I'll give you that hint. We're going to ransack this man. First we have to figure out what he's up to, but yes, it's a Bob's your uncle theory. Suddenly immaculate conception theory, if you wish. See state power, and Bob's your uncle. In comes communism, just like that. And all the wonders of communism. State withers away, market goes to planning, elimination of classes, whoopee. And in fact, he actually says on one part, from the kingdom of necessity to what does he say? Which is actually Josephine's point. Kingdom of necessity to... Is it kingdom of necessity? I think it's probably more... what does he swear? Where's 716, the top of the page? Ascent of man from the kingdom of necessity. I didn't know, it's funny you should use the word kingdom of necessity. Right, kingdom of necessity is the kingdom of freedom. That is indeed what we've already talked about on page 441, and perhaps in the German ideology, that, it is a movement from, what did you say, Josephine? From the natural division of labor to the voluntary division of labor, which is precisely almost what Engels says on the previous page, 715, in the last third of that page. But Lars, this is, as I say, immaculate conception. Bob's your uncle. It just happens. And so obviously there's something problematic here. And so we will discover when we read Lenin that he says, no, you can't do this. You have to go first you go to a stage called socialism, and then you go to a stage called communism. Right? So we're going to talk about that, but only when we get to Lenin. And if you want me to be dead honest with you, there are places in Marx, there always are, where he identifies two stages of communism. If you want to go and read it, I think it's in this book, it's called The Critique of the Gotha Program. Which is where Lenin gets all his ideas from. This must be in here. He could not leave this out. Yes, it's on page 525 if you want to look at it. But anyway, Engels here is have a very simplified model. And here we have it. It's all on your board before you. So what do you think? Competition leads to de-skilling, new machinery, leads to polarization of wealth, crises of overproduction, small capitalists disappear, imperfect competition, deepening of crises, joint stock companies, state ownership. On the one side, class struggle on the other, intensifies, then the workers realize that they don't need capitalists, they see state power, and Bob's your uncle communism. Juliana.
One other transition that somewhat seems to between class struggle and proletariat state power is the idea that they see that capitalists are superfluous, but I mean, what prevents them from saying, well, the capitalists are superfluous, but this person or this party will stand for our interests? Like, what's the transition to that finally seeing that, no, we can stand for our interests?
Very good. Very good. You have posed the question, and there is an answer. The answer lies in the Communist Manifesto, pages 475 to 485. 473 to 483, sorry. You're absolutely right. That is a very good criticism. There are many criticisms to be made, but this transition from class struggle to seizing state power, very problematic. Marx and Engels have more to say about that in the Communist Manifesto. That's what we will talk about on Monday. That's question number 1. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yes. Any other thoughts here? Any other thoughts? Okay, if you know more thoughts, I got some thoughts. The one crucial moment in all this, I want at least 2 points I want to make. First is that, what does Engels think about this? Engels thinks that this is, in fact, the foundation of what? This imperfect competition, joint stock companies, trust, state ownership, is the beginning, Jason, of? Socialism or communism, right? It is the laying the foundation, because already there is in the idea of joint stock companies and trusts and state an idea of planning the economy. So in a sense, socialism is already beginning to emerge within capitalism. Within capitalism. And he actually says this. Where does he say that? Oh, very good. 710, I think he says that. Yeah. He says, it's only the new paragraph at the end of the page. No, not the very end. The full little paragraph at the end of the page, not the very bottom of the page, which begins, in the trusts. Well, what does it say? It says, in the trusts, freedom of competition changes into its very opposite, into monopoly, and the production without any definite plan of capitalist society capitulates to the production upon a definite plan of the invading socialist society, or communist society. Socialism equals communism here. Right. So in fact, capitalism is laying the foundations of this future communist society by virtue of its own inherent dynamics. Yeah. And what you notice is that over here we have private appropriation versus socialized production. But then as we go over here, it becomes more semi-socialized appropriation versus socialized production. Until finally we have socialized production and what? Socialized appropriation, collective appropriation. Yeah. That's the whole story. That is the whole story. Yes. Socialized production and socialized appropriation, or socialized. So, whereas over here, and here it's semi-socialized appropriation, socialized production, and over here it's privatized production and socialized production. Yes?
I'm a little unclear how, with increasing trust and things like that, you need this semi-socialized appropriation.
What I mean by that is there's a beginning, that's read in the last passage, the beginning of planning. Essentially, what's happening in these trusts is a sort of planned organization of production. Industry, so corporation A will produce so much, corporation B so much, C, it's a sort of allocation.
But, there's still the capitalist form of appropriation.
There's still a capitalist form of appropriation, exploitation, but what I'm suggesting is that there's semi-socialist, socialized, semi-socialized organization of that appropriation. But it's still capitalist exploitation, absolutely. Yeah. Perhaps I should be very careful. You're right, Matthew. I should be careful with the semi-socialist. It's still capitalist exploitation. Yes, that's only done away with once the means of production are appropriated and controlled by society. Yes. Now there's one other thing. Remember what was one other thing necessary for communism? We talked about the invading planning over here, but what else is necessary for communism? Page 441. Do you remember? Do you remember? What else is necessary for communism? Something else happens under communism, without which, yes, no, you've spoken too much, Jason, you've had your quota, but thank you very much. Come on, something else. Communism, remember? On page 441, there was 2 realms, yes? Surplus. Yes, the surplus is centrally controlled and redistributed. But who's producing the surplus? Everyone. And what is it about that production? It's becoming People spend less. Hand up, Lilia. Shortening of the working day. How is that possible? It's necessary, obviously, because if we're still working 8 hours every day, or 10 hours every day, and commuting for 6 hours, and eating for another 3, we've only got 5 hours for sleep, and there's no realm of freedom. Alright? So, where is this shortening of the working day going to come from? Alex? Christy?
Limiting waste.
Limiting waste? Help with technology. 2 things. Eliminating waste, because we will not have any electric toothbrushes, I promise you! We decided that, remember? We voted on this matter. No? Kate is going to have her needs curtailed. She desperately has to have her electric toothbrush. But alright, we're not going to have any nuclear weapons anymore. Any agreed? That's a good one, right? Okay, no more nuclear weapons. Very good. Alright, so that's the elimination, you might say, of waste. And we'll have no more cars, right? No, very good. That's also very wasteful. But we're also, what is very crucial, as Alex says, is that we have to have advanced technology so that we can produce things very productively so we don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. And those advanced forces of production, that technology, those forces, are produced under capitalism. Capitalism actually provides the necessary foundation for this new society by actually generating all forms of newfangled technologies that produce things more efficiently so that when we finally arrive in communism, we can reduce the length of the working day. Yes. So, it's an amazing thing, this capitalism, how it actually lays the foundations of the future society and at the same time, through its own laws of competition, destroys itself. Isn't this an extraordinary theory? That it shows how capitalism necessarily simultaneously creates crises, generates the new mode of production, at the same time generates the class that will dominate, organize, and overthrow the capitalism. Simultaneously, the new conditions and the agent of the new society. It all happens simultaneously. It is magical. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And the question is, why? Where was this theory wrong? Where was this theory wrong? Where did Engels make a mistake? That is where we are going to be great theorists on Tuesday. We're going to ransack this. Now, to help you ransack, I'm giving you a hint. Julian has already pointed to the problem down here. We're also going to have a lot of question marks all over here. I want you to draw this picture and think about all the question marks. We've got a question mark down here that's to do with class struggle. And I'm telling you to read about the state. The state. The state is the crucial institution that Marx and Engels failed to theorize. Think about the state and the significance of the state in maintaining capitalism. Have a great weekend. I do. What's your name? Eden. Eden. Okay. Oops, no. It's not. That's what I did. Yeah. Nope. There you go.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Okay, you too. Extra copies of the midterm. Oh, extra copies of the midterm. Ah.